This book was meant to be one book, and it has since become two books, and now it is seven books. A one-off was not really a one-off. That's all because of my daughter and her friends, and I appreciate it so much.
Hello, this is Raymond Aaron, New York Times top 10 bestselling author, bringing you Respark Your Life podcast, the world's premier podcast to ignite the fire to allow you to live life on your own terms. Every single Thursday, I bring you a multi-millionaire, world-famous celebrity to teach you about the most fascinating ways in order to live a far better life. Every single Thursday, you just need to subscribe by hitting the subscribe button. I'll see you every Thursday to Respark Your Life. Yes, this is Raymond Aaron again, and you know this shtick. Even though I have lots and lots of world-famous friends, and even though I have interviewed them on this podcast, the real delight is bringing you stealth wisdom that you would never find out about on your own. Now, these people that I find are known in their own sphere of influence. But if you ain't in their sphere, then you ain't never heard of them and you couldn't get their wisdom. But I find these secret geniuses and bring them to you. And today I have such. Today I have Nkrumah Mensah, mother of two, lover of Star Trek and Shakespeare. She loves anime. She's an anime enthusiast and a ballroom dancer. And she's now a novelist. Born into a long line of storytellers with the desire to share her tales with the world, Nkrumah is the first in her family to bring her characters to the written page. In a mystical place called Greensboro, in the zany land of North Carolina, she works in commercial construction by day and toils on her writing passion at night. Wow. I would normally say you are a Renaissance man, but you're a woman. You're a Renaissance woman. I have never heard that term before. I've never heard
I love it.
Renaissance person even. But so you are, and you toil in construction during the day and you write at night. And your first book, is it your first book that you have out now?
This is my first book.
Anne of Survivor. So tell us, do you have brothers and sisters?
I do. I have three siblings, an elder brother and two younger sisters.
All right. Now, when you were young and you're just playing with your siblings and other kids down the street, did you think you were destined for greatness? Did you think you would be the first person in your family to ever write a book? Or did you think you were average? Or tell us the background. Where did this current Nkrumah come from?
Well, I will tell you that reading and writing was not anywhere on my page of thinking. I am dyslexic. So it took me a long time to read, let alone even consider writing anything. I did love stories. Like I said, on both sides of my family, we have storytellers. My great aunt on my mother's side, and then all of my dad's siblings tell great stories, including my father. So storytelling wasn't ever a difficulty. And I did tell a few fibs when I was growing up to get my siblings in trouble because they were all kind of bigger than me. But storytelling was never an issue, but writing was, and reading was. So it was in junior high school that I read my first book, cover to cover. And from there, I realized there's a whole world waiting for me. And from that point forward, I read anything my mom would bring to my room. I would read anything. And from there, I decided one day, so it was actually after college, I was hanging out with a friend and she had an arranged marriage. And I asked her, what would happen if you just decided not to get married? What if you decided to just jump out the window and shimmy down the columns and leave? And she thought I was crazy. But then later I decided to write a story of a girl who does this. Now, granted, in our time and age, that's not difficult. A woman can get a job. She can buy her own house. There's so many things that we can do. So it wasn't as interesting from an American current standpoint. So I took a character and put her in the late 1500s, early 1600s to see how that would pan out.
Uh-huh. Very interesting. So you're a storyteller by voice, but not by pen. But no, but then you changed and now you are. Wow.
Yes.
So Anne of Survivor is the coming of age of a woman who thought she was, let's say, imprisoned to do what the culture required her to do. And then she broke free. Is that it?
Yes. Yes. That's it. That's it. Now, poor Anne, she doesn't realize that she's a lower royal, and this arrangement that her parents have found for her would raise not just herself, but her entire family up the ladder of royalty. And so she understands why her parents are doing it, but she doesn't want any part of it. And when she runs off, she doesn't realize at the time that she's embroiled herself into a larger issue that involves the entire kingdom. So it's kind of action adventure swashbuckling at the same time. And she gets into a fair amount of trouble along the way.
I can imagine. But this is the trouble that she would have never experienced if she did what she was told, if she accepted the rules of her society, if she accepted the higher royalty position that the marriage gave her, then she would have had a somewhat dull and frustrating and empty life. But now she has all these miracles and adventures.
Exactly.
Wow, it's as if I read the book. Very nice. Okay, I get it. The coming of age and the throwing off of the shackles of Anne of Survivor. Wow.
Yes.
Wow, that's fascinating. Now, tell me a miracle that's happened to you because of the book.
A miracle that's happened to me because of the book. I believe that it's opened greater doors for me because this book was meant to be, Anne was one book, and it has since become 2 books, and now it is 7 books. So I'm in the process of writing a 7-book series. And that is because my eldest daughter, who is an avid reader, shared Anne with her Battle of the Books team, which in North Carolina, it's a group of kids who read a long list of books, and then they have Jeopardy like matches with other schools.
Wow.
So she shared it with her group. And then one day I came home from work and I had a group of young women in my kitchen demanding that I tell them the rest of the story. And they wanted to know about different characters and, what Anne's doing now and, whatever happened to this character from the beginning. And, interestingly enough, before speaking to them, there was one character that I really wanted to know more about. And she was one of the ones that they asked about. So from there, it became, okay, well, I've got this one story. Now it's 2 stories. Now it's 4 stories. And since I've written the second girl's story, there's another lady that needs her story written. And so I think from that, I've discovered that a one-off was not really a one-off. And that's all because of my daughter and her friends. And I appreciate it so much.
Well, I'm glad you're giving such noble credit to your daughter. But what I've noticed more generally is that the characters are part of the authorship of the book. Like, you can claim you're the author because you're a human, you have a name, it says copyright by your name and a certain year. However, what I've learned about novelists is that the characters actually talk back to the author and they give their own opinions. And even though you thought that the character would reply yes, the character actually replied no, and you have to say no. What does that mean? Oh my gosh. And so the undeveloped character in your first book actually is yelling out to you, develop me, develop me. I want my own book.
And you are so right about that, because when I started writing Anne, I expected her to go one direction and she chose another direction.
Yes.
And in doing so, she introduced this other character. And this other character was like, hey, sorry, excuse me, I have a story that you need to write. And from her story, there's another lady who's like, hello, I'm over here. So they tell me their stories and I write them down. And they don't always do what I expect them to do. And if
That's
they did,
right.
it would probably be much more boring.
Now, let me tell you something, that I'm a publisher and I publish thousands of books for my clients. And in the realm of nonfiction books, like how-to books, this doesn't happen. When an author sits down to write a 10-chapter book, he figures out what each chapter is about. He figures out some bullet points in each one and he writes it, and nobody's talking back to him. There's no character that says, hey, teach them this instead of that. So it's only in the fascinating world of fiction that the characters actually play a role in the production of the book. It's fascinating. It's really, really fascinating.
Yes, and I don't see it as like you said, as me telling their stories. It's like a conversation. And at the end of each book, I feel sad because now I'm saying goodbye to a friend. Like we've had this conversation over so many months and we're working out issues and we're developing things, and then suddenly their story's done and they've moved off into the sunset and they've left me behind. And so I have to
Well,
pick up where someone else is beginning.
that's why the Harry Potter books, for example, there's lots of others like Lord of the Rings, are so long, because the
Mhm.
author doesn't want to leave that universe. And the readers, once they learn that universe, love it and they want to stay in it.
Exactly.
But nonfiction readers, they want to get the information and get away as fast as possible. How does this
Exactly.
work? Very good.
Exactly.
Okay, very interesting. What is the biggest lesson that you learned that you haven't yet mentioned in this interview from writing a fiction?
Just how hard it is to get into the industry. I I thought, I'd write a few query letters and I'd find an agent and I'd break through because you have a good story. There's so many good stories that don't get out there because the industry is difficult and people give up. And speaking to some authors who've done that makes me very sad. And it really has helped me keep going because even as hard as the industry is, I'm determined. Like I just want my books are for young women. I want them to feel empowered and just to have 10 girls read my book or 20 or 30. That's enough for me. If one person comes up to me and says, this story was great, I learned this, then I've done my job. But you have to get it out there to find that one person.
So, did you find an agent? And obviously, you found a publisher. How did you do it?
I found actually I want to say it was Kismet because I knew someone from high school who had met someone at a big event that he had been to. And he had told this person that he knew writers, but my friend didn't know that I wrote. Like we grew up across the street from one another and he didn't know that I wrote. So once he found out, he put us together and it turned out that the co-founder of this publishing company and I just hit it off. And he read my book, he loved it, and the rest is history.
Wow, indeed, a wonderful history. Now, I'm going to ask you a question that you have no ability to answer. Are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Off, it's off the wall. It's out of left field. It's crazy, but you have to do it. Are you ready?
Okay, yes, I'm ready.
Would you rather be a fortune cookie or a birthday cake?
A fortune cookie or a birthday cake? Hmm. Wow, this is a crazy question. I'm going to say I love eating cake. I love eating cake. So I'm going to say a fortune cookie. I'm going to say I'm going to say a
You
fortune
tricked me.
cookie
Now, why
for several reasons.
why, yeah, you have to have a reason. Why did you choose fortune cookie?
Well, because there's a fortune inside. I want to speak to people. Cake doesn't really speak to people. It gets eaten and it's delicious. It's for a moment. But if you get a really good fortune inside a cookie, you might keep that around for a while. You might tape it to your desk or carry it in your pocket. And I want to be around for people. I want to be with them for a while.
Oh, so the message inside the fortune cookie lasts a long time, but a cake only lasts about half an hour, and that's it. It's out of here.
Exactly.
No one has ever given me that answer. That's a really interesting answer. So it means to me, or I'm guessing because of that answer, that you have a small number of friends that you have kept for a very long time.
I do. I do have a circle of friends that I've kept for a long time. In fact, my best friend and I, in about 3 years, will have been friends for 40 years.
Wow.
It's a long time. And I'm still friends with a group of my college friends. We still meet up and travel together. So yeah,
You
I keep
are
people around.
all fortune cookies.
Yes.
You have friends who are fortune cookies. Wow, if I had them all on the show, they'd all say fortune cookie, fortune cookie.
I don't
Wow.
know. I think my best friend would say cake. She loves sweets.
So, why is Anne of Survivor a standout book amongst all the other books that attempt to empower young women? Why is yours different? Or how is it different?
I think that within the story, it's not just Anne. There are so many people who change because of her, and including her parents. And I think that it shows the domino effect of how one person can change all these other lives. And not only that, but it's she started out wanting to run away from home. And then she realizes, and I think a lot of us do this. I've lived a lot of places. So once you leave a place, and even if you are ready to get out of that place, when you return, you feel like you're home.
Uh-huh.
And I think that Anne goes through this process. You see her grow, and then you see her realize that some of the things that she was running away from, she actually misses.
So
And I
it,
think it's not just running away, it's also as far as coming into your own and realizing who you really are.
so you've added an element of reality that it isn't all just wonderful to run away, and it's not all bad to run away. Do you know, I
Yes.
remember hearing an interview about someone who wrote novels, can't remember who it was, and he said that notice in every movie and in every novel, the good guy has three characteristics, two good characteristics and one bad. And the bad guy has two bad characteristics and one good. So the bad guy might hate kids and sell drugs, but he loves his dog, something like that. And he
Yes.
says, that's how you make a deep character. You can't make the good guy all good or he becomes a cartoon character. And you seem to have done that with your book. She runs away from home because home is so bad and so stifling, and everybody wants me to do what my culture's been doing for thousands of years. And then she misses it. So you
Yes.
give it a fight, you give it a conflict instead of just being all nice when she finally runs away. Very good. I'm very intrigued For your first book, it seems masterful. And so
Yes.
I have a commandment. This is the way I'm going to end our interview. I'm going to command my dear subscribers to buy Anne of Survivor. Anne is spelt with an E, Anne. Anne of Survivor by Nkrumah Mensah. And you might say, but I'm not a young girl. Yeah, well, if you are a young girl, then buy it. If you're an old lady or an old man, I'm sure you know who you could give that book to as a gift. Because this is the ripple effect that she was talking about. You can help her keep that ripple growing. Thank you. And thanks for a wonderful interview, Nkrumah.
Thank you so much, Raymond. This has been wonderful.
Wow, I sure hope you enjoyed that fascinating episode. Please make sure you've subscribed, and please tell your friends if you like it that they will probably like it as well. For your information, this experience, this service, this podcast has been sponsored by the Orbit Coaching Program. All of my friends, all my world-famous speaker friends, all have coaching programs. Mine has been independently rated as the #1 high-level coaching program. You cannot purchase it. You have to audition for it by me personally. If you're interested, please email me at respark@aaron.com. Respark@AARON. Say that you're interested in being considered for the Orbit Coaching Program and include your cell phone number so that I personally will call you back.